Right. Let's talk about age today. You know that little strange number people carry around like it means something consistent? Exactly that one. Because apparently, mate, at 18 you become an adult. At 30 you are supposed to have your life together. At 40 you start saying things like 40 is the new 30. Which is fascinating. Because it's basically just public panic in a blazer. We have built an entire culture around pretending age works in a neat, logical way. But it doesn't. You spend your childhood desperate to grow up, right? Then you turn 18 and wait for the big transformation. Midnight strikes, you stare at your phone. Maybe you expect wisdom and power and legal authority, maybe a new face, something. And what do you get? Maybe dry eyes, low battery, and disappointment. That's it. You're not transformed. You're just sleep deprived and suddenly expected to know what a tax code is. And it only gets more pathetic from there. Mate, at 25, people start spiraling, At 30, they start comparing timelines. At 40, they start rebranding the number. At 50, they become deeply interested in olive oil and knee pain. And by the time people start talking about living to 100, well, nobody seems to ask the obvious question. Why? No, seriously, why? Not philosophically, logistically. Because people talk about turning 100 like it's some glorious final achievement. A magical milestone, a beautiful victory. As if the last 30 years of that journey aren't just you misplacing your glasses while paying off a house until retirement and repeating the same story to a child who's pretending to listen. And I say this with love. I like living. I do. But let's not romanticize the full package, right? Because everyone says they want a long life. But what they actually want is extended youth with better lighting. And unfortunately, that's now how it works. So today, let's talk about age. The lies we tell about it, the panic we attach to it, and the absolutely ridiculous theater of pretending we are all fine with it.
Unfiltered outsider. Unfiltered outsider.
All right. Welcome back. Hello. I'm Noah. The guy who apparently decided that the best use of this time today was to sit down and question one of the oldest human obsessions in history. Age. Not aging, Age. That little number that follows you around like a suspicious government file. You can move countries, yes. You can change jobs. You can even reinvent your personality 3 times before lunch. You can find a younger woman, you can marry, you can divorce, you can marry again, you can find a younger man, you can find a older one, you can do whatever you want. But that number? That thing sticks to you like gum on the bottom of a shoe. And people treat it like it means something precise. Oh my God, you're 18 now. Oh, you're already 30. Oh, you're almost 40. Almost 40? What that's supposed to mean? Is there some kind of biological alarm clock that goes off at midnight? Does the universe send a memo? Attention! Subject Noah B. Jackman has reached level 40. Please activate back pain and existential dread. Come on. Because if that's the system, I must miss the update. Let's start with the biggest scam of all. Turning 18. Oh, my friend. For years, people tell you this magical thing, Oh, at 18 you become an adult. You hear this your whole childhood, You imagine something dramatic will happen, a transformation, wisdom will descend from the sky, or you'll suddenly understand taxes, confidence, purpose, the meaning of life. But then midnight arrives, and you're staring at your phone, waiting and waiting. And nothing, mate, because nothing happens. The only difference between you at 17 years old and 364 days and you at 18 years old is that you are tired because you stayed up until midnight refreshing your notifications. Come on, go to bed. You're just waiting to see who remembered your birthday, right? And if the Facebook did this job properly, the whole planet already knows. Which is amazing. Because nothing screams adulthood like receiving 47 messages that say, "Happy birthday, bro." And normally from people who would walk past your funeral without noticing. And yet somehow this moment is supposed to mark the beginning of maturity. Congratulations. You're legally an adult now. You still have no idea what you're doing, I'm sure. But now the consequences at least are real. Welcome to the club, mate. Then comes the next fascinating stage of human psychology, Your 30s. This is where people start doing something incredible. They start negotiating mathematics, because numbers are apparently offensive now. You will notice these magical centers begin to appear everywhere. 40 is the new 30. Which is a beautiful concept if you think about it. Because what it actually means is, mate, don't make me say the number 40 out loud. That's all it is. It's not science. It's not sociology. It's just emotionally accounting, 39 is fine. 39 still feels safe. 39 is still young, But then suddenly midnight arrives. And you are 40. And people panic. So instead of accepting the number, humanity invented a marketing campaign, 40 is the new 30. 50 is the new 40. 60 is the new 50. And at this point, we have basically created a system where everyone is permanently 10 years younger than reality. By this logistics, someone who's 90 is technically about 80, right? Which is great news. Because now we have solved aging with creative arithmetic. The body disagrees, of course. Your knees don't care about inspirational Instagram quotes. And your back is not participating in the rebranding exercise. But psychologically, people feel much better. And then there's another moment in adulthood that nobody talks about enough. The moment you realize how long things actually last, Let me give you an example. You buy a house, right? Everyone congratulates you, You feel successful, responsible, a functioning adult. And then you look at the mortgage agreement. 35 years. 35. So if you buy that house at 35... you finish paying it at 70. 70. Which means the house becomes truly yours at the exact moment you start saying things like, "Oh, where did I leave my glasses?" Or, "Is this a pharmacy or a bank?" And this is considered a normal life plan. Work for 40 years, pay your things until your joints start making noise. And then finally relax. Assuming you still remember why you bought the house in the first place. And now here's something I think about sometimes, My generation. My God, I love my generation. And it's going to be the first generation of 1 year olds covered in tattoos. Think about that for a second, Right now, tattoos look like rebellious. They look cool. They look dangerous. You see a sleeve, a dragon, a skull, a tribe of things from 2003. And normally you think, yeah, that guy has stories, right? But fast forward that 60 years. You walk into a retirement home, and there's a 97 years old man slowly walking down the corridor with a walker, with a full sleeve of flames and a skull that says "Born to Ride." Except he hasn't ridden anything since 2047. And the skull has faded. And the flames look more like abstract watercolors. And the nurse is trying to take his blood pressure while reading the tattoo that used to say "no regrets," which looks like no regret, because the skin half gave up halfway through the sentence, And honestly, well, maybe that's the advantage of tattoos, When you're 100, nobody can see the wrinkles. Everything just blends together, Your arm becomes one giant historical document of bad decisions. But here's the real thing about age. I actually like living, I do. Life is interesting. It's chaotic. Sometimes ridiculous. But let's be honest for a second. The adrenaline of life happens mostly in the first half, The first half of life is movement, Everything is happening. First job, first money, first love, first mistakes, first everything. You are discovering things, You are building things. You're running around trying to understand the world. And then slowly the second half arrives. And the pace changes. Friends move away. Families grow. New generation appear to look at the world in a completely different way. And you start realizing something strange, The stories you remembered so clearly are history to everyone else. Just like our grandparents used to talk about the world we never saw. And we listen politely for about 3 minutes. And then we check our phones. Which is probably exactly what the next generation will do to us. Except they won't check their phones, because by then babies will probably be born with a phone already installed, straight from the factory. So yes, people love talking about long lives. Living to 90, living to 100. It's always presented as an incredible achievement. This beautiful milestone, And look, I'm not against it, If the body works, and if the mind works, and if life still feels interesting, why not? But let's not pretend we know what we are asking for, alright? Because when people say they want to live to 100, they actually mean something different, They mean something like, I would like to stay young for longer. Which is a completely different request. Nobody dreams about the part where you need 3 pairs of glasses and 15 different pills that all have names that sound like Wi-Fi passwords. Nobody imagines the moment when you start repeating the same story for the 7th time and everyone in the room already knows the ending. Nobody fantasizes about the day a doctor says, well, for your age, that's actually quite normal. Which is a medical language for congratulations, sir. Your body's slowly shutting down. And yet we keep chasing the number. 90, 100. As if the number itself means something, Maybe it does. Or maybe the interesting part of life isn't the number at the end. Maybe it's everything that happens before you start counting the years like trophies, Because honestly, mate, if I ever reach 100, there's a very good chance that I will be exactly the same person. Still fucking complaining, still observing people, still wondering why humans behave the way they do. Just a little slower, probably. And probably with worse eyesight. Which might actually help. Because at that age, seeing people less clearly might finally make them easier to tolerate. Anyway, that's enough philosophy for today. Go celebrate your age. Whatever number you're currently pretending it is. Uninfluenced, Unpaid, Unfiltered. I'm Jackman, and this is the Unfiltered Outsider.
Unfiltered outsider. outside of